What's going on YouTube? It is Texans Take over here, back with another video, and it seems like we're doing a mock draft about every day now. So if you'll have any other ideas, leave them down in the comment section. But last time we used my own big board. This time we're going to go back to the regular PFF big board. And this is after the Wyatt Teller signing, so that's why I felt it was appropriate to do a mock draft because a lot of things are going to change up now. With the signing of Light Teller. Like guard is not as big of a need as it used to be. Obviously, it's still a need, but I think people are looking at D tackle now as probably something we should be looking at 28 or the potential of moving up. But Jeremiah Love goes all the way up at 2, and Arvell Reese does not go till 6. So that means the Commanders should go with a wide receiver, but they go with Dylan Thiedemann, Maui Noah, Fano, Freeling, Ione go all in like a 5-pick span. So any chance of moving up to draft an offensive lineman's kind of gone. Cameron Sadiq goes there at 15. I've heard some people wanting to move up for him, but uh, I'll hold off for now. Caden Proctor goes right there. Cassius Howell goes there, and then Blake Miller goes there. So we're sitting here at 28 with the opportunity to go with any defensive lineman in this class. No single one has been selected yet, unless you consider Ruben Bain a D tackle, which is the exact same scenario that I had with my live stream. So if y'all didn't go watch that, go watch that. A lot of fun, pretty much just talk ball the whole time. So, yeah, I think that's something y'all could definitely go check out and enjoy. But here at 28, I think considering the talent that's left on the draft board, if the Cardinals, I'm going to continue to do this, the Cardinals or the Raiders, actually not the Raiders, but the Dolphins, maybe if they want to move up to prevent someone from getting a quarterback. I don't think they'll go with Ty Simpson, though they do have Malik Willis, but the Jets, maybe, 28 for 33. 103, they don't really have the capital that I like. Unless you do something like this, that could make some sense, but I'm not going to do that. We'll go with the Cardinals here. I think 28 and or 34 and 65 for 106. Or 28 and 106 makes sense, and I think it's a fair deal. Maybe even 139. We'll do 139 in there, and we'll force it just because I do think it's a very fair trade for us. So hopefully they do end up going with Ty Simpson. They go with Peter Woods. Okay. Cade McDonald goes there. Pregnon goes at 33, which means we're pretty set on the idea of Caleb Banks here at 34, which one of the highest ceilings in this class with his size at 6'6", 330. Freakishly long arms. The injury's a little concerning, but um, I think he'll step in and do a great job right away. Um, the Jets are the most drafted by maybe at 33. That could make a lot of sense for them, but they go Pregnon in this one. But we'll go Caleb Banks here at 34. Think it makes a lot of sense. Concepcion's someone that I think the Texans could consider as a slot receiver if you want some explosiveness there, but ultimately not the pick because he goes at 35, which would like to have him. I think Kristen Miller is someone that's intriguing. Obviously, I love Chase Basantis, and I don't think we need to make a pick here. I think this is a good spot to trade down. Somewhere into the 40s, maybe the Dolphins, 94. I mean, I'd do this. So we'll offer that. See if it ends up going through. 53% chance. We can enhance it a little bit with. I mean, with this, and that one does go through. So 38 and 165 for 43 and 94 makes a lot of sense. You trade to the bulk of the draft, and then at 43, I mean Zion Young's available. That's really intriguing actually because you do need an edge rusher in there. But I do like the guys around the 65 to 59 range. Derek Moore, Denida Sutton, Joshua Josephs. I think the Texans should be looking at, as well as Mike Washington Jr. around there. So we'll hold off for now. And at 43, we will go with a guard that I think could use some time to develop in the NFL in Chase Basantis, who could even play center. You don't really know. Zion Young does go the pick afterward. And we can speed this up a little bit. Jadarian Price and Malachi Lawrence both go there. At 59, I do think it makes a lot of sense to go back to the defense and go with a linebacker here. I think Jake Golday is the one that intrigues me the most. I do really like Josiah Trotter. Y'all know that. But other linebackers, I think there's a pretty steep drop off in this class. Pretty deep class at linebacker. I like Anthony Hill Jr. a lot. I like Bryce Broetcher down the board. But, Kyle Lewis, you don't know if he's going to play linebacker. You don't know if he's going to play safety. Same exact thing that you talked about with Kyle Lewis is going to apply to Harold Perkins. I like Owen Heineke a very good amount or very decent amount. Really good pass rusher at linebacker, but same thing. Size concerns. Trey Moore, probably an edge in the NFL. Um, Torrin York, size concerns. Bryce Boetcher, pretty standard there at 6'2", 232. Even a little bit small. Josiah Trotter a little bit small as well. So I think, at 59, we are going to go with Jake Golday here. And then at 65, I think you can risk it and go with one of the edges here. So for me, um, I'm gonna go with Derek Moore. That's just who I prefer a little bit more, funnily enough. And then at 69, I think Mike Washington Jr. should be the pick here. So we will do that. And then we have 94 and 106, so there is potential to move down and pick up some extra draft capital in there. Um, but obviously, if there's a center, Jake Slaughter still available, then I think you got to pick him up. Obviously, I like Pat Coogan down the board. I like Logan Jones a lot. I think him, Slaughter, and Lou are the big three in terms of centers. Obviously, people like Sam Hecht. I'm not too big on Sam Hecht as others. But here at 94, I think Jake Slaughter does make a lot of sense. Two Florida teammates coming to Houston in this one. Then at 106, I think that's probably where we explore moving down for like a 140 and 160 combo or something like that. Um, so you know, Dolphins. You can do 130 and 149, which I think makes a decent amount of sense. We obviously do have 139, but we traded it in this mock draft. So move down 24 spots, but pick up 149. And then could you do 227? I mean, you can. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But you're giving up one. So that's 10 picks in this draft. And I think that's probably where the Texans will end up being. Maybe we give in 243. But we'll just do this for now. The more picks, the merrier, the funner it gets. So 106 for 130, 149, and 227. And as we continue on, you can see some very valuable names headed off the boards there. But I wanted Jalen Kilgore. That's a little annoying. But at 130, I think you could definitely turn to tight end here. I think you could turn to wide receiver even here, or other defensive lineman, linebacker. You did address already, so I think it's interior defensive line here, or wide receiver. But we're at a draft where you just go best player available, and whoever you feel the best about, I think you take. And for me, that's Emmett Johnson, but we already went with or running back, excuse me, not a linebacker. At wide receiver, though, down the board, I really like Kevin Coleman, which is why I think that's going to be the pick at 149. I like Eric Rivers a lot, too. Defensive line, I like DeMonte Capehart. I like Zane Durant. I like Cole Brevard. I like Bryson Easton a decent amount, too. And then tight end, I think, is what you consider. Marlon Klein, I think I like Oscar Delp down the board. I'm a fan of. Same with Nate Borkirk, sure. So you're sitting really pretty right now in terms of draft position because you're not desperate for anything. So you can kind of just trade around the board, pick up your favorite guys, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Um, we'll go 158 and a fifth from next year, see if that gets accepted, and it does. So move down a little bit, pick up 149 in there, and hopefully Mr. Who was I talking about? Kevin Coleman's still there. I think he'll be there at 158, to be honest. So we can hold off on that from now. Maybe Austin Barber could be in consideration to be a developmental tackle, or even a guard, which makes a lot of sense. But I think at 149, Nate Borkirk probably stands out the most to me. Dallin Bentley, I like. He's just not a blocker. He has decent size to develop into a blocker, but he's more of a receiver for Utah. Marlon Klein's a very good blocker, though. That's definitely an intriguing pick. But at 149, I am going to pull the trigger on a Nate Borkirk here because he's a really good security blanket. And then at 158, this is where we will go with Kevin Coleman Jr. to potentially be a slot wide receiver for us. And it's hard to say what drafts are going great at this point of the draft process, just because you don't have a need. Like it's such a rare position that the Texans are headed into the draft that your needs D tackle, but it's one of the deepest classes in this draft. So even if you come out with a Devin Eastern in the 7th round, then he's going to be able to be a rotational guy for you, which is going to be pretty valuable on this team. Here at 227, though, you're kind of just getting guys that are going to compete for roster spots. But I think one that I keep coming to with the Texans is Max Bredesen. Um, just a really good fullback for Michigan. And if you want to talk about swarm mentality, that's exactly what he is. So I think it makes sense as a fit there. And then at 243 to round out this draft, you've gone with 4, 8, yeah, 10 guys. I think is very fair. Um, and you picked up an extra pick for next year's draft in there. So pretty pleased with the way this one went. We did force a trade with the Cardinals, which I think is very fair value, 139 and a first round pick for a second and third. So, I, in my opinion, it's fair. Some people can disagree with me, um, but to close out this draft at 243, you're not really banking on anything here. You could go with like a Luke Altmaier or Sora Robertson to come in and be a backup quarterback for you, but I was at the assumption that that could happen if Davis Mills got traded. I don't think Davis Mills is going to be traded anymore. So, what else you look at? Probably interior defensive line help, and I think Brandon Cleveland does just that for you. So, that'll round out our mock draft. I think we'll be somewhere around the B range for this, but um, an A for Caleb Banks, B, B minus, B minus, B plus, A minus, C, 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 B plus. It's a B plus. I think that's fair. Um, I think Jake Slaughter's a great pick at 94. I think Mike Washington Jr. at 69 would be great. Derek Moore, I really like as a player too. Haven't really gone with edges that much, but I think getting an edge in that sweet spot of the draft does make a lot of sense just because it's a pretty deep class there. So you could get a good rotational guy in there, and you don't know if you're going to re-sign Derek Barnett or not just because of um, obviously how much he's asking for in the open market. But yeah, this is the way the mock turned out. Let me know what y'all think down in the comment section below. Give me some video ideas down below in the comment section. I'll definitely do them because we're at a spot in the NFL season where it's kind of just like mocks or free agent signings, and it seems like the Texans are pretty much done with free agency after the signing of Wyatt Teller yesterday, which I'm ecstatic about. Again, there was a live stream yesterday to give my thoughts and opinions. Maybe there's a couple other special teams guys, but that's not really anything to report other than just notifying it. Um, but yeah, let me know some video ideas down in the comment section below. I can do Madden rebuilds. I can really do anything. So just let me know what y'all want to see. I'll try to do it. But for now, it's just going to be pretty consistent mock drafts and live streams. I'm just talking ball until that point. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like, subscribe. Subscribing does mean a lot, as well as liking. Finally, I think I got monetized, so um, really positive stuff there. Channel is just going to go up from here. So thank you all so much for the support as always. And it's Texans Takeover, and I'm out. Thanks again for watching. Peace.